Hello future welders, we're back here with another great video today. This video is all about the root pass. We are going to be doing an open butt 6-inch pipe 60-10 root pass. I'm going to show you step by step how I tack it up, how I prep, and then we're going to put this root pass in and get started. Let's go. All right, now that we finished grinding our land on the pipe, we ground it to a 1/8 land all the way around. It's very important that both lands match. And then we're gonna set our spacer wire, get this piece tacked up. We use a TIG filler rod, 1/8 TIG filler rod. So how I have this set up is a 1/8 land with a 1/8 gap. 1/8 land, 1/8 gap, get this piece tacked up, and let's get started. All right, now that we have our piece all tacked up, I typically, when I set up a pipe, this is the way I do it personally. So I have my 1/8 land, I have my 1/8 gap, I have around 1/2-inch tacks. I typically use 3 tacks. That's how I do it. The reason why I use 3 tacks opposed to 4, I leave the bottom with no tack. There's no tack at the bottom. Now, the reason why I do that is because that's one less tie-in for me, all right? Just one less tie-in. You still have to tie in on the other side, but it's one less tie-in. And typically, when you are doing these type of welds, these type of, let's say you're testing for a job, a lot of times where guys bust out, or let's say fail, they use the term bust out. Bust out means you have an imperfection, right? And you fail. So a lot of times when you fail, it's usually because you have a bad tie-in on your tacks. Your tacks is like a weak point if you're not that proficient at tying into tacks, all right? This is for beginners. So again, you're tying into the tack, coming up the pipe and tying into the tack is very crucial. Let's get started.
As you notice, as you can see, I am constantly whipping this rod in the bevel. I have constant pressure on this rod. So you should feel some sort of resistance as you're welding. I'm doing a whipping technique here, and I'm constantly jamming this rod in the bevel.
Right now I have a 1/2 rod left. I'm approaching a tack. My big rule of thumb is I like to switch rods. I like to get a fresh rod. You never want to run out a welding rod right before your tie-in. All right, that's going to be pretty difficult to, especially as a new welder, that's going to be pretty difficult in order to make that tie-in without grabbing the grinder and making sure you didn't leave a pinhole. So when I'm approaching my tack, I like to kind of chuck this rod, all right, and grab a fresh new rod so I can have enough to kind of go through. I could tie into my tack and then keep going, all right? But I never want to run out of welding rod right before I end my tack.
I just want to reiterate, guys, you should constantly feel pressure on the end of this rod. I'm pushing. As I'm whipping back and forth, I'm constantly pushing. Now I'm going right over my tack. I have plenty rod left, so I don't want to stop. And I'm just constantly keeping pressure on that rod and just whipping back and forth. Just a rub and whip technique. Now I'm going to the other side, and again, back and forth, rub into this bevel, and just push back on that keyhole and watch that keyhole window close up. I gotta see that window close behind me. I have to see that window close behind me. That's how I know that I have a solid root pass. Each time I advance forward, I go push back and close that window. Now I know that I'm in there. I know that I've closed that keyhole. constantly rub and push. Constantly rub and push. You're basically welding the inside of the pipe from the outside.
There you have it, folks. Today's video was all about the root pass. This video was for beginners. We did a 6-inch pipe, all right? We did a 1/8 land. We used 1/8 60-10 welding rod, all right? Come check out this root. Today's video was sponsored by AmeriArt. Check out their new welding lens, the TIG Master. This welding lens is perfect for TIG welding, will not flash on you. All right, check out our products at ameriart.us. See you on the next one.